Hey guys, in today's Worth the Buy, I'm going to be going over the long-awaited game that was announced years and years ago, Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord. I'm sure that those that are big fans of the series definitely already have bought this game, and I want to try and figure out if this game is on its way to living up to its fullest potential, being early access and all. Areas that we're going to cover in this video are: what is Bannerlord? What are some of its features? Why is everyone so obsessed with the game? What are the imperfections of the game for it being early access? And my personal pros and cons about the game. So without any further delay, let's go ahead and get started. Bannerlord is the long-awaited sequel that's not a sequel for Warband that was released back in 2010. A lot of people say that it's a whole new tier over Warband, but others say it's just a lot of the same content with prettier graphics. And they're both right. But for those wondering what is Mount & Blade, well, it's a very interesting blend of a game. It's first person, it's third person, it's one part dynamic medieval RPG, other part war strategy game slapped into a large sandbox world. There's also some survival elements and some Crusader King-like elements where the world goes on around you and tons of NPCs make choices that all have their own consequences. It's all so much. Moving on to some of the features in this game, the character creator is incredible and it has a lot of depth and a lot of sliders, going over your character's background, their life, the culture, the upbringing, your parents, and increasing certain stats before you even get into the game. You can go to castles and cities, engage in battles, go to alleyways, there's a day and night cycle, alliances, treaties happen, mercenaries, your food supply dwindles, you buy troops, upgrade them in fights, and you slowly grow out your army, which you'll gain experience through battles and entering tournaments at towns, earning money through engaging in the world's dynamic economy system, which buying and selling goods have fluctuating prices based on your locale. Also doing the classic RPG quests for NPCs, which range from defending a village to delivering goods to a far off town. We can probably look forward to more types of quests throughout the development of the game. The battles are where the fun begins, because you can gather and command hundreds of troops and be in the battlefield as well. The combat itself is pretty skill based in the sense where you have to move your mouse to block or parry an incoming attack. And yes, I said parry. There's duels, skirmishes, large field battles, and the really awesome castle/town sieges. All of this is where the franchise really shines and plays a part as to why it has such a large following. If you like knights and swords and catapults, trebuchets, and satisfying combat, it's a full medieval life simulator. This game just has it all, or should I say, it's on its way to having it all. The game gives you the reins on how you want to grow your army, devise your tactics, even get involved in the economy, which is a game in itself at times, with supply and demand, stuff like that, while you're also making sure your soldiers have enough to eat every day and not go broke at the same time. There's thorough skill trees with descriptions on how to increase their levels, special companions you can recruit in the taverns that have so many culturally different aesthetics to them, it's amazing. You're able to order some of them to complete quests for you. There's a lot to keep you busy. The franchise has such a following because of how ambitious the games have been, starting with a great base of the loot system, war prisoners, dynamic economy, factions, army building, business purchasing, relationships to develop, and blacksmithing as well. Some of the imperfections you might notice in this game currently during the early access phase are some of the systems are not even implemented yet. The villages could be livelier and the towns could have more player interaction, but fans of the franchise are very grateful for the improvement versus Warband. Oh, Warband. It looks like they really want players to be able to delve into their medieval lives. Just look at the taverns, and all we can hope for is that they really develop those areas of the game even more. Keep in mind there is a bit of a learning curve for new players to the series, as the game doesn't really hold your hand at all. But that's okay, because learning and searching up some of the guides is half of the fun. Don't forget all the other features this game has to offer, like multiplayer, custom battles, permadeath, growing a dynasty, which I believe they fixed in one of their updates, so I don't have 19 children running around in future saves or accidentally getting my spouse pregnant because I stopped at my castle for a day. Additional things that I wanted to mention is that the modding potential is scary, as the developers had really primed the game for modders, and the Mount & Blade community has had enthusiastic modders for years. So you can look forward to seeing Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones mods sprout up in the future. When the game first released, the devs have worked and put out patches every single day. This is an early access game with a fair amount of issues, but the devs are working tirelessly to fix them as the players find them. Multiplayer is really cool, being able to play with your friends, have a KDA tracker, which I hope they fixed, because they used to have it so every time one of your controlled AI gets a kill, it adds onto your KDA. This isn't a very casual game, as there's a lot more to this game than Skyrim, but if you're willing to learn and you're interested in the game as a whole because you heard about all the hype that grew over the long 8 years, you'll definitely have fun with this game. Some of the more notable pros is that it feels satisfying to make your own kingdom, start a caravan that rakes in the dough, and become an all-out entrepreneur by managing several different workshops. Combat can be really hard to master, but when you do, it's hella satisfying to parry a sword blow like a boss. The game looks great. They're constantly adding new scenes and plan on making each castle and town have a different look, which is going to be exciting. Now, for the cons, I'm not sure if they fixed it yet, but the other factions snowball hard. I'm looking at Valandia and the Kezawite. The biggest con of all is the game feels empty, like it's missing a lot of things that I hope they intend on adding, like actually managing a criminal empire and gang rather than just beating up thugs and removing them from that part of town. Like, what does that even change? There's no game-changing difference if you do or don't. I want to be able to have my wife actually do things, maybe see her walking in the marketplace, or see your 8-year-old running around town hanging with gangs, like they actually have you picking how you grew up in the character creation part of the game. I think I'm hoping they just add a lot of dynamic events like in Crusader Kings 2, and then you'll have the ultimate game of all time. So, is this game really worth the buy? Personally, yeah, I've enjoyed my time with it. I do get a little burnt out, but I keep finding myself coming back. And I can't wait for the game to be fully finished at some point in time, and just be able to see how much progress it's made since the posting of this video. Well, thanks for checking out this video, guys. Let me know what you think about this game, and if there's any points that I made that you agree with or don't. Also, if you're going to pick it up, or what you think about it yourself if you've already bought it. If you could leave a like or possibly subscribe to the channel, that would be a great help and indicator that I'm posting content that you guys like. See you guys next time.